PBLB by Kim, Sinead, Pierre, and Marvin. Miss Educator is back, and this time she has a new challenge for us. She's taken our feedback and decided to create an assignment that will allow us the opportunity to actually demonstrate achievement of our learning objectives we've learned throughout the course. It will also give us the opportunity to practice creating assignments and to demonstrate our understanding. In our small group, we were challenged to create an assignment, do the assignment, and submit the assignment to our instructor. We also have to create our own rubric. When designing our assessment, our group had to keep in mind the following learning objectives: describe the goals of assessment and related principles, apply principles of sound assessment to adult education, select, create, and justify which assessment methods are best suited to particular adult education learning goals. Analyze, develop, and critique a variety of assessment methods using principles of sound assessment, apply digital technologies that support assessment processes, self-analyze and produce reflective written pieces, and locate, compile, and compare a variety of assessment resources within higher education. Keeping these learning objectives in mind, our group wanted to create something that was creative, engaging, and digitally inspired. We came up with the idea of a digital learning object. With further brainstorming, we came up with our assignment outline and learning objectives. Using software development technology as a group, create a digital learning tool to educate a novice on adult assessment. Our learning objectives were to identify one or more learning objectives discussed in class, provide a rich learning environment, engage the learner through interactive features, demonstrate alignment between learning objectives and all other elements, content, learning activities, and assessment, and include references and APA formatting, all whilst keeping the learning objectives from the course in mind. Then it was time to create our rubric. We took our learning objectives and created a scale of level 1 to 4 to create our rubric. It looked at our learning objectives, our learning object, assessment, and references. Take this time for a brief overview of our rubric. We created our assignment. We created a rubric. Now it was time to actually do the assignment. As a group, our digital learning object that we decided to create was an e-learning module. We used Articulate to create an e-learning module that had built-in assessment. Here is a guide of our... Welcome to our e-module course that we created for our digital learning object. Assessment for Adults, Learning Assessments, the many different ways of assessing learners. Let's click Start the course. It talks about the purpose of assessment. There are many different reasons for assessing learners. It is important to be clear about the purpose of assessment because it should be unlikely that one single assessment instrument will meet all assessment needs. We're going to use the arrows in the corner here to click on to the next slide. It goes on what assessment is and then talks about learning tips. Then we're going to go into the actual types of assessment: feedback, feed-forward, peer assessment, authentic assessment, assessing group work, and self-reflection. Let's expand on feedback. It gives a brief overview of feedback and then the advantages and disadvantages. Knowledge check, true or false. Feedback provides information to learners about where they are in relation to their peers. Let's click true. Incorrect. Please try again. Okay, false. That's right. Feedback provides information for learners about where they are in relation to their learning goals. Continue. It brings us to the next slide of Feed Forward. It also states the advantages and disadvantages of Feed Forward. Knowledge check, multiple choice. The following are advantages of Feed Forward. It encourages students to address key issues that have been identified. B, it encourages students to produce quality pieces of work that they can carefully craft over time, or C, encourages students to think reflectively about their work to respond to tailored recommendations? I'm going to go with all of the above. That's right, you selected the correct response. Now it talks about peer assessment. It does a brief overview and then the advantages and disadvantages. Again, knowledge check. This time it's a true or false. In peer assessment, learners assume the roles and responsibilities normally taken on by a formally trained teacher, tutor, or editor. Say true. Then it talks about authentic assessment, a brief overview, and then the advantages and disadvantages. Knowledge check, multiple choice this time. The following are advantages of authentic assessment. A, it's realistic. B, requires judgment and innovation. C, it asks the students to do the subject. D, requires creativity. E, replicates or simulates the context in which adults are tested in the workplace or personal life. Let's say B, C, D, and E. Oh, that's incorrect. Let's try again. All of the above? Oh. Again, incorrect. A, B, C, and E is the correct answer. Now we're talking about assessing group work. Again, a brief overview, and then the advantages and disadvantages. And let's do our knowledge check. True or false? In assessing group work, a disadvantage can be the lack of shared expectations between students. True or false? Let's say false. Oh, that's incorrect. It must be true. Now we talk about self-reflection. Again, advantages and disadvantages. And a knowledge check. True or false? The ultimate goal of self-reflection is to remember what you have learned. Let's click false. Okay. Here's a summary. Assessment in classroom is really important. With the different kinds of assessment, a teacher can evaluate an ongoing process, with the aim to provide feedback for developing better instruction. Here's a recap of the assessments we covered today. Feedback, feed-forward, peer assessment, authentic assessment, assessing group work, and self-reflection. And here are references that we utilized for all of our information. Here's a test. Begin quiz. You will have 60 minutes to complete the quiz. Please enter your name. Please, no cheating. You'll only be hurting yourself. Quiz question 1. Assessments can be more varied by allowing students to draw on their personal experience. Correct. Which of the following is not a type of assessment? Unique. Feedback enables learners to evaluate their blank and identify blank in their knowledge and take remedial action. Let's say weaknesses and strengths. That's incorrect. That's right. Feed forward is more important than feedback to a learner's progress. I think that's true. That's incorrect. It's false. A combination of feedback and feed forward ensures that assessment has an effective developmental impact on learning. The following is an advantage of peer assessment. An advantage of authentic assessment is that they're easier to grade. Say true. That's incorrect. False. The following is an advantage of assessing group work. A, B, and C is the right. The following is an advantage of self-reflection. What are the different kinds of assessment? A teacher can evaluate on an ongoing process with the aim to provide feedback. True. Your score 90%, passing score 80. Congratulations, Sinead, you passed. All right, and that is the conclusion of our course. This assignment definitely challenged us and got our brains thinking. We got to create our own assignment, create a rubric, and actually complete it. This really helped us to apply everything we've learned throughout this course. Thanks, Miss Educator, for giving us a great challenge. We learned so much and can't wait to apply all of our skills when we become educators ourselves.